Welcome to the 1,000 Nights and 1 Night. Now, when it was the 158th night, she said, It hath reached me, O auspicious king, that Abu al-Hasan went with the girl to the house of Ali, son of Bakkar, where he left her standing at the door, and walked in to his great joy. And Abu al-Hasan said to him, The reason of my coming is that such an one oath sent his handmaid to thee with a letter, containing his greeting to thee, and mentioning therein that the cause of his not coming to thee was a matter that hath betided him. The girl standeth even now at the door. Shall she have leave to enter? And he signed to him that it was Shams Al-Nahar, slave girl. Ali understood his signal and answered, Bring her in. And when he saw her, he shook for joy and signed to her, How doth thy lord? Allah grant him health and healing. He is well, answered she, and pulling out the letter, gave it to him. He took it, and kissing it, opened and read it, after which he handed it to Abu al-Hasan, who found these verses written therein. This messenger shall give my news to thee. Patience, what while my sight thou canst not see, a lover leavest in love's insanity, whose eyne abide on wake incessantly. I suffer patience pangs and woes that none of men can medicine, such my destiny. Keep cool thine eyes, ne'er shall my heart forget, nor without dream of thee one day shall be. Look what befell thy wasted frame, and thence argue what I am doomed for love to agree. And afterwards, without fingers, I have written to thee, and without tongue I have spoken to thee, to resume my case. I have an eye wherefrom sleeplessness departeth not, and a heart whence sorrowful thought stirreth not. It is with me as though health I had never known, nor in sadness ever ceased to wone, nor spend an hour in pleasant place, but it is as if I were made of pine, and of the pain of passion and chagrin. Sickness ceases unendingly, and my yearning ever redoubleth. Desire still groweth, and longing in my heart still gloweth. I pray Allah to hasten our union, and dispel of my mind the confusion. And I would fain thou favor me with some words of thine, that I may cheer my heart in pain and repine. Moreover, I would have thee put on a patience leaf, until Allah vouchsafe relief, and his peace be with thee. When Ali Bin Bakkar had read this letter, he said in weak accents and feeble voice, With what hand shall I write, and with what tongue shall I make moan and lament? Indeed, she added sickness to my sickness, and draweth death upon my death. Then he sat up, and taking in hand ink case and paper, wrote the following reply. In the name of Allah, the compassionate, thy letter hath reached me, O my lady, and hath given ease to a spite worn out with passion and love-longing, and hath brought healing to a wounded heart cankered with languishment and sickness. For indeed, I am become, even as saith the poet, straitened bosom, reveries to spread, slumberless eyelids, body wearied, patience cut short, disunion longsome, reason deranged, and heart whose life is fled. And know that complaining is unavailing, but it easeth him who love-longing disordereth, and separation destroyeth him, and with repeating. Union I keep myself comforted, and how fine is the saying of the poet who said, Did not in love plight joys and sorrows meet? How would the message or the writ be sweet? When he had made an end of this letter, he handed it to Abu al-Hasan, saying, Read it, and give it to the damsel. So he took it, and read it, and its words stirred his soul, and its meaning wounded his vitals. Then he committed it to the girl, and when she took it, Ali Bin Bakkar said to her, Salute thy lady for me, and acquaint her with my love and longing, and how passion is blended with my flesh and my bones, and say to her that in very deed I need a woman who shall snatch me from the sea of destruction and save me from this dilemma. For of a truth, Fortune oppresseth me with her vicissitudes, and if there any helper to free me from her turpentides. And he wept, and the damsel wept for his weeping, and then she took leave of him and went forth. And Abu al-Hasan went out with her and farewelled her. So she ganged her gate, and he returned to his shop, where he opened and sat there. And as he was wont, Shahrazad perceived the dawn of the day, and ceased saying her permitted say. And when it was the 159th night, she said, It hath reached me, O auspicious king, that Abu al-Hasan farewelled the slave girl and returned to his shop, which he opened and sat down there according to his custom. But as he tarried, he found his heart oppressed, and his breast straitened, and he was perplexed about his case. So he ceased not from melancholy the rest of that day and night, and on the morrow he betook himself to Ali Bin Bakkar, with whom he sat till the folk withdrew, when he asked him how he did. Ali began to complain of desire and descent upon the longing and distraction which possessed him, and repeated these words of the poet. Men have plained of pining before me, live and dead by parting been testified and terrified. But such feelings as those which my ribs immure, I have never heard of, and nor ever espied. And these of another poet. I have borne for thy love what never bore, for his fair case the daft one hit of old. Yet I chase not the wildings of wold and wild, like Cays, from madness and manifold. Thereupon quoth Abu al-Hasan, Never did I see or hear of one like unto thee in thy love, when thou sufferest all this transport and sickness and trouble, being enamoured of one who returneth thy passion. How would it be with thee if she whom thou lovest were contrary and contemptuous, and thy case were discovered through her perfidy? And Ali, the son of Bakkar, says Abu al-Hasan, was pleased with my words, and he relied upon them, and he thanked me for what I had said and done. I had a friend, continued Abu al-Hasan, to whom I discovered my affair and that of Ali, and who knew that we were intimates, but none other than he was acquainted with what was betwixt us. He was wont to come to me and inquire how Ali did, and after a little he began to ask me about the damsel. But I fenced him off, saying, She invited him to her, and there was between them and her as much as can possibly take place, and this is the end of their affair. But I have devised me a plan and an idea, which I submit to thee. Asked his friend, And what is that? Answered Abu al-Hasan, I am a person well known to have much dealings among men and women, and I fear, O my brother, lest the affair of these twain come to light, and this lead to my death, and the seizure of my goods, and the rending of my repute, and that of my family. Wherefore I have resolved to get together my monies, and make ready fortnight, and repair to the city of Basra, and there abide till I see what cometh of their case, that none may know of me, for love hath lorded over both, and correspondence passeth between them. At this present their go-between and confidant is a slave girl, who have till now kept their counsel. But I fear lest haply anxiety get the better of her, and she discover their secret to some one, and the matter become bruited abroad, might bring me to great grief, and prove the cause of my ruin. For I have no excuse to offer my accusers. Rejoined his friend, Thou hast acquainted me with a parlous affair, from the like of which the wise and understanding will shrink with fear. Allah avert from thee the evil thou dreadest with such dread, and save thee from the consequences thou apprehendest. Assuredly thy wrecking is aright. So Abu al-Hasan returned to his place, and began ordering his affairs, and preparing for his travel. Nor had 3 days passed ere he had made an end of his business, and fared forth Basra wards. His friend came to visit him 3 days after, but finding him not, asked of him from his neighbors, who answered, He set out for Basra 3 days ago, for he had dealings with its merchants, and he has gone thither to collect monies from his debtors, but he will return soon. The young man was confounded at the news, and knew not whither to wend, and he said in his mind, "Would I had not parted from Abu al-Hasan." Then he bethought him of some plan whereby he should gain access to Ali Bin Bakkar. So he went to his lodgings and said to one of his servants, "Ask leave for me of thy lord, that I may go in and salute him." The servant entered and told his master, and presently returning, invited the man to walk in. So he entered and found Ali Bin Bakkar thrown back on the pillow and saluted him. Ali returned his greeting and bade him welcome, whereupon the young man began to excuse himself for having held aloof from him all the while, and added, "O my lord, between Abu al-Hasan and myself there was close friendship, so that I used to trust him with my secrets and could not sever myself from him an hour. Now it so chanced that I was absent 3 days' space on certain business with a company of my friends, and when I came back and went to him, I found his shop locked up. So I asked the neighbors about him, and they replied, 'He's gone to Basra.' Now I know he had no surer friend than thou, so by Allah, tell me what thou knowest of him." When Ali bin Bakkar heard this, his color changed, and he was troubled, and answered, "I never heard till this day of his departure. And the case be as thou sayest, weariness is come upon me." And he began repeating, "For joys that are no more I want to weep, while friends and lovers stood by me unscattered. This day, when disunited me and them fortune, I weep lost loves and friendship shattered." Then he hung his head groundwards and thought a while, and presently raising it up and looking to one of his servants, says, "Go to Abu Hassan's house and inquire in him whether he be at home or journeying abroad. If they say he is abroad, ask whither he'll be gone." The servant went out, and returning after a while, said to his master, "When I asked for Abu al-Hasan, his people told me that he was gone on a journey to Basra. But I saw a damsel standing at the door, who, knowing me by sight, thought I knew her not, said to me, 'Art thou not a servant to Ali bin Bakkar?' 'Even so,' answered I, and she rejoined, 'I bear a message for him from one who is the dearest of all folk to him.' So she came with him, and she is standing at the door." Quoth Ali bin Bakkar, "Bring her in." The servant went out to her and brought her in, and the man who was with Ali looked at her and found her pretty. Then he advanced to the son of Bakkar and saluted him. And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of the day, and ceased to say her permitted say. And now, when it was the 160th night, she said, "He hath reached me, O auspicious king, that when the slave girl came into Ali bin Bakkar, she advanced to him and saluted him and spake with him secretly, and from time to time during the dialogue he exclaimed with an oath, and swore that he had not talked and tattled of it. Then she took leave of him and went away. Now, when Abu al-Hasan's friend was a jeweler, and when he was gone, he found a place for speech and said to Ali bin Bakkar, 'Doubtless and assuredly the Caliph's household have some demand upon thee, or thou hast dealings therewith.' 'Who told thee of this?' asked Ali, and the jeweler answered, 'I know it by yonder damsel, who is Shams Al-Nahar's slave girl, for she came to me while since with a note wherein was written that she wanted a necklace of jewels, and I sent her a costly collar.' But when Ali bin Bakkar heard this, he was greatly troubled, so that the jeweler feared to see him give up the ghost. Yet after a while he recovered himself and said, 'O my brother, I conjure thee by Allah to tell me truly how thou knowest her.' Replied he, 'Do not press this question upon me.' And Ali rejoined, 'Indeed, I will not turn from thee till thou tell me the whole truth.' Quoth the jeweler, 'I will tell thee all, on condition that thou distrust me not, and that my words cause thee no restraint, nor will I conceal aught from thee by way of secret, but will discover to thee the truth of the affair, provided that thou acquaint me with the true state of thy case and the cause of thy sickness.' Then he told him all that had passed from first till last between Abu al-Hasan and himself, and adding, 'I acted thus only out of friendship for thee and my desire to serve thee,' and assured him that he would keep his secret and venture life and good in his service. So Ali turned and told him his story, and added, By Allah, O my brother, naught moved me to keep my case secret from thee and from others, but my fear lest folks should lift the veils of protection from certain persons. Rejoined the jeweler, And I desire not to foregather with thee, but of the great affection I bear thee, and my zeal for thee in every case, and my compassion for the anguish thy heart endureth from severance. Haply I may be a comforter to thee in the room of my friend Abu al-Hasan during the length of his absence. Be so thou of good cheer, and keep thine eyes cool and clear. Thereupon Ali thanked him, and repeated these couplets. Ah, and say I, patient, I can bear his facing. My tears and sighings give me say the lie. How can I hide these tears that course it down, this plain my cheek for friend too fain to fly? Then he was silent for a while, and presently said to the jeweler, Knowest thou what secret the girl whispered to me? Answered he, Not I, by Allah, O my lord. Quoth Allah, She fancied that I directed Abu al-Hasan to go to Basra, and that I had devised this device to put a stop to our correspondence and consorting. I swore to her that this was on no wise so, but she would not credit me, and went away to her mistress, persisting in her injurious suspicions, for she inclined to Abu al-Hasan, and gave ear to his word. Answered the young jeweler, O my brother, I understand as much from the girl's manners, but I will win for thee thy wish, inshallah. Rejoined Ali Bin Bakkar, Who can be with me in this, and how wilt do with her when she shies and flies like a wilding of the wold? Cried the jeweler, By Allah, needs I must do my utmost to help thee, and to contrive to scrape acquaintance with her without exposure or mischief. Then he asked to leave to depart, and Ali bin Bakkar said, O my brother, mind thou keep my counsel. And he looked at him, and he wept. And the jeweler bade him good-bye, and fared forth. And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of the day, and ceased saying her permitted say. And so do I cease my telling for the day, till it be morrow.